You don't know me? I'm Kian. This is my passport. If you like this passport, you can make your own at passports.freehack. Oh wait, no, you can't.
No.
Maybe in a couple weeks you can make your own at passports.freehack.
We'll see.
Once I fix it. Okay, what is a plant? That is not a plant. But it is cute, like plants. The one on the right is a plant. You can tell because it's green. Plants like to do that. It also has roots at the bottom. Typically, those should not be visible, but in this case, they are.
The roots aren't green.
Correct. Although they can be on things like orchids.
Oh.
Because fun fact, orchids, most plants, the roots don't get sunlight, which is why they don't have chlorophyll, so they're not green. But orchids, the roots do need sunlight, so they are green. And you can't put orchids in dirt, you have to put them in a clear pot. Because usually they actually just grow on the sides of like trees or bark. So you plant orchids in this thing called orchid bark, and you put it in clear pots so that they get sunlight, and then they don't die.
Whoa.
That's why when you give people orchids, they die quickly because they're always in dirt because stores don't know how to care for plants. Okay, if that wasn't enough proof that I'm qualified, here's more. This was my dorm room last year, and I also have other plants.
Oh.
Some of these are the same plant, though, in just different stages. The trees kind of up there twice. The one, the like spider plant up there, and then this one here, those are the same plant, but also not quite. We'll talk about that.
That's such a healthy spider plant. Wow, I wish mine looked like that.
Okay, anatomy of a plant. This is, not all plants look like this, but you basically have roots, stem, and leaves. Sometimes this is not true. Sometimes like the stem and leaves are not that separate, like with vining plants. But we'll get to that. Okay, so one thing you can do with plants is propagate them. And this is like one of the things that most people don't know how to do. So it's probably what I'll spend the most time on. Propagating a plant is when you take a plant and you make it into more plants. You can actually do this with like most plants, and they're pretty resilient. You can kind of just cut up a plant. Oh, I should have reordered slides, but I was going to say that later. Anyways, so this is an example of how to propagate succulents. Succulents typically have like plump leaves with water in them, and you can just like take those off and then put them on dirt, and you want to spray some water on the dirt so it's like moist but not soaking wet. And then after like weeks, a couple weeks to a month, you'll start to see roots come out of the little things. And then you can either just leave them there and they'll continue growing, or you can then like put the roots a little bit deeper in some dirt, put more dirt on top, and then they'll keep growing. And you'll get a new succulent plant. So the one on the right in the background there, not the plants in my hand, that's a succulent. You can basically just pick a leaf off of that, put it on some dirt, and then wait, and it will grow. Other plants propagate differently. So you'll see, this is the vining plant, this is the pothos. Yeah, I really should have reordered the slides, but whatever. This plant, I need to do not quite a live demo for, but these things are called nodes. This is where the leaf comes out of the stem on a vining plant. What you can do is you can just cut this here, in between the nodes, and then you stick the node in some water, and it'll just grow roots. So you can take like a really long vine, and you can just chop it into like 10 different nodes, and stick them all in water, and now you have 10 pothos plants. So if you look here, that's exactly what I've done here. You'll see there's like a little 1 to 2 inch section of plant right there, and where the leaf comes off, that's the node. So each one of these has one node, and then I just stick them in water, and eventually they will grow roots. They'll become more plants. So if plants seem expensive, you can actually just duplicate them. You can also do this thing called crop lifting, because this is propagation, and it's also kind of shoplifting. But if you go to a store that has plants, and there are like little pieces like this on the ground. Actually, anyone want to guess where I got these?
The ground.
Home Depot. The ground at Home Depot. And they didn't have a price tag because they were on the ground. So you just like pick up and stick them in your pocket, and then you can take them home and stick them in some dirt, and they grow. So you don't actually have to buy a plant. You can also do this with like any of the plants on your way to class. if you want, those ones are sometimes harder to propagate because they're meant to be outdoor plants, not indoor plants. But like you can just kind of take a piece, and if you figure out the right way to propagate it, it will grow. Okay, that was 2 examples of propagating plants. For all the other plants, you kind of just want to look up how to do it. If a plant looks similar to like these, then you can probably do this. If a plant looks similar to this, then you can probably just cut the nodes and put them in the water. If the plant doesn't look similar to either of these, then look up how to do it. For example, the spider plant, like this one here, once they get big enough, you'll get like a kind of weird leaf, which is almost like the texture of a stem. And if it grows enough, then at the end of this stem, you'll get a tiny little spider plant. Like it'll literally look like this spider plant, and it'll just be like an inch tall. And then you can just pick that off and put it in some dirt, and then you have another spider plant. So that's how to propagate those. Or you can kind of like separate them at the bottom sometimes, but that's harder to do. Yeah, I also did. Oh, there's the tree. That one's harder to propagate. You can't as easily just cut a tree and have it grow. It is possible, but yeah. Okay, moving on from propagation. How often should you water plants?
It depends.
Yes.
At least sometimes.
Reasonable. Anyone want to guess how often the sometimes is?
Like once every like 2 or 3 weeks.
Once
Every 2 or 3 weeks?
once every month.
Once a month?
Once a week.
Twice a week?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Twice a week? No. You don't do it on schedule. So you actually want to water plants whenever they need water. Different plants need water at different times. Some plants like to dry out completely, and some plants like to be pretty moist all the time. So, for example, the pothos and the succulents, any tropical plants or succulents, they want to be fully dry. So this is a moisture meter. You can get a moisture meter and use it. You can also, you have 10 of them built in, or 20 if you take off your socks. But you can just feel the dirt, and then if it's dry, you probably need to water it. For some plants, you need to water it before it gets dry. You want to water it when it's moist. That's kind of for like outdoor plants. For a lot of the indoor house plants, they're going to be tropical or succulent, and those ones, you don't want to water that often. You want to give them a ton of water. You can literally just dunk it in the bathtub, or you can just take a shower with your plants on the floor. One of my friends does that because she lives in the dorms, so you have to like lug water back and forth between water fountains, so you just take a shower with all the plants.
So does she take her plants too?
Yes.
She showers literally with the plants.
Yes. Yeah. You can shower with plants. It's fine. As long as you're not too stinky. But
What if the soap gets in the plants?
what is soap in the plants? Don't do that. I mean, I actually that's a good question. I don't know. It depends on the soap, probably. Depends on the acidity of soap as well. But yeah, you can mainly try to get the water in the plants. But while you're waiting for your shower to heat up, like, put your plants in there, water them then, and then you can take them out, and then you can water yourself. Temperature of the water, it kind of matters, but like also not really. If it's anything that's like reasonable for you to touch, then it's probably reasonable for plants as well. Don't boil them, don't freeze them, but like anything in between is probably fine. Cold or room temperature, which is what you get if you're waiting for the shower to heat up, that's fine. So yeah, that's how often you should water plants. Also, you can just keep plants in water, which is counterintuitive because you don't want to water them too often, but if you just leave them in water, then it's fine. Oh yeah, I should say, well, anyone know what overwatering is?
You watered it too much.
Watered it too much? No. You had your hand halfway up. Okay. Anyone else know what overwatering is? Soil is too damp? No. Anyone else want to guess? Watering too often. That's what overwatering means. Too much water is fine. You can put them in the bathtub. You can just take the whole plant and dunk it in the water and hold it there until you see bubbles stop coming out. Don't do this with a human. It has the opposite effect. But on plants it works. Watering them too often is what's bad. So yeah, you can also underwater them by either doing it not often enough or by giving them too little water each time. Overwatering is almost always just too often, not too much water.
Question.
Yes.
Why?
Why? Okay, I don't have a diagram for that, but the answer is basically like the roots of the plant need water, but they also need oxygen. So if you water them too often, they're going to be just sitting in water all the time, and they're not going to get enough oxygen. If you water them a lot, they'll soak up a lot of the water that they need, and then if you wait until it dries out, the water will there's little cracks around the root between the dirt where the water goes, and if you wait, the water will evaporate, and then there will be air there, and so the roots can breathe the air. Yeah, so basically, the roots need both water and air, and if it's an orchid or things in the orchid family, then it also needs light. Any other questions about watering plants?
Could you use something other than water?
Yes, you can use something other than water. People sometimes recommend using milk, like occasionally, not all the time. That would be expensive. But yeah, if your plants, you can also use like fertilizer sometimes. I don't have it in my slides, but yeah, you can also use dirty water. So like if you cook something and you have excess water, you can just use that. They don't really care. You make pasta, you can just use your pasta water. Just wait for it to cool down first so you don't cook them. Or if you intend to cook them, then take the plant out of the dirt first. But yeah, okay, that's enough watering. What should you put your plants in? It does depend. That is true. Any guesses on what you can put plants in and still have them live?
Dirt, water, gravel, different types of dirt.
Yes, that's a pretty good answer. Yeah?
Bark, occasionally they wet paper towel.
Bark, occasionally wet paper towel. Sure. You can use bark without paper towel too. For like
Just like
organisms.
just straight up paper towel and wrap the seed.
Oh, yes, you can do that. I see, there were 2 separate suggestions.
Yeah.
Yes, you can use bark, you can also use paper towel sometimes. That's usually for seedlings or like literal seeds when you want to get them to first sprout when you're trying to grow them. So next time you get a mango, take the mango and then take a butter knife and crack open the pit and there's a seed inside. Take the seed out, sprinkle some cinnamon on it, put it in a damp paper towel, fold it up and put it in the back of your fridge, wait a couple of weeks, and it should have a little stem coming out of it. And then put that in some dirt, and it will either get moldy and die, or grow into a mango tree. Anyone know why the cinnamon is included?
Antibacterial.
Yes, antibacterial. It prevents bacteria, prevents mold. So if you just put it in the fridge, then it'll probably get moldy. But if you put cinnamon on it, it'll make it less likely to mold.
Why are mango seeds so delicate? All the other seeds don't seem to need something like such.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the natural growing conditions. So like for mango seeds, the conditions that they're usually just dropped into if something like eats a mango and then ditches the seed are very different from what you would get if you just like dropped it into a bucket of dirt. Because of where mangoes naturally grow. So you kind of need to simulate the conditions by making like really damp. And I think the fridge is to simulate winter, so that then when you take it out, it feels like spring to the seed and it sprouts. I'm not quite 100% sure about that, so you can fact check me. But yeah, that's why some plants need different treatment. Others, like the succulents, you just drop it on top of some dirt. You don't even need to put it in the dirt, and it'll find the dirt. Some of them you can just put them straight in water. You can do this with a mango seed. You can put it straight in water. Avocado seeds, that's a very common one to just put straight in water. A lot of like elementary school kids do that. But yeah, different. Look up the best thing to do for each plant, or you can just experiment. And sometimes it'll work, and sometimes it won't. I did the mango seed thing, and it sprouted, and I put it into dirt, but then it got moldy and died. Yeah. Anyone eat out often? Like at restaurants and whatnot? You get takeout or stuff? Takeout containers are great for plants. You don't need to buy pots and stuff. Well, if you want them to look nice, you do, but You can just use the round like tub containers. Those are great for planting plants in. That's what I have in mango trees. I don't have a picture of it on the slides. No. Like what you would get like I think it's a yellow curry container. Like the taller, almost like a large cup. Yeah. Okay.
Cardboard ones.
Oh, I should probably explain. I don't have questions. Okay, so soil composition. The thing on the right is commonly called dirt. This is peat moss. There are different kinds of dirt. Because we don't really have natural dirt anymore, because everything is like manufactured, the dirt you'll find in the store is most likely peat moss. It's a specific kind of moss that is kind of dried out and ground up and like decomposed a bit, and it looks like this. Live peat moss looks different. It's green and yellow. What is the stuff on the left? Does anyone know?
Gravel.
It is,
Pebbles.
it would fall under that category, but it's a specific type. This is perlite. It is basically volcanic rock gravel. And the reason that's important is it's really porous and really light, so it will help absorb the water in the soil, which will help you avoid overwatering the plants. If you water them too often and there's a bunch of excess water sitting around, the perlite can soak some of it up. So it also, just because they're larger chunks than the fine dirt, it will help the water go through so that the roots are not just sitting in water the whole time, because that will also harm them. So you can, depending on the plant, you might want to use a different mix of dirt. You could do like 1-to-1 peat moss to perlite for succulents or tropical plants that need fast draining soil. You can vary the mix, you can add other things. So there's also cocoa coir, which is an alternative to peat moss. It comes from coconut husks. So you'll take like the hair on the outside of the coconut husk and then they turn that into soil. Cocoa coir you can get as like a brick, and then you just like cut a chunk off the brick, throw it in some water, and then it absorbs the water and turns it into like soil. Cocoa coir is a bit better. It's a bit better draining. So it's better for succulents and tropical plants and things that need well draining soil, so you don't need to mix it with as much perlite. Yeah. Also, all the soil mixes you get in stores, completely disregard what's in any of those, or like not what's in any of those. Disregard any claims like fast draining or moisture control or any of that. If you look at the ingredients, it's always the same. It's always peat moss. So yeah, just get peat moss or like get the most basic soil you can and then mix it yourself so that you know what is actually in it and how well it's going to drain. Okay. Another thing, yeah, plants are kind of like hair. If they are overgrown, you can just cut it. So it works well with trees. It's usually called pruning and not just cutting, but plants are very resilient to being cut. You can kind of just cut them wherever and they'll survive. Except like you cut a leaf in half. You kind of have to keep the leaves intact. So if you take a pothos and you cut it like lengthwise up the vine, it's not going to survive. But if you cut, horizontally and you have 2 pieces of vine, those will both survive as long as you care for both of them. Okay, common plants. This is a pothos. It's a vining plant. It's very common. They're pretty cheap because they're very common. There are different varieties. The one on, I don't remember the name. I think it's like silver queen pothos is the one on the right, and then the one on the left is a golden pothos. They look very similar. The difference is the amount of white or yellow and the exact shade of the white or yellow. So the silver one is much more like white, and the golden pothos is more like yellow, and also has smaller regions of the color. Oh, that's right. Any questions about the pothos? Okay. Any opinions about the pothos?
Basic cookie cutter thought of it.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of fake pothos, like plastic ones. Grow too fast? This is true. This makes them great gifts. Your pothos grows too fast, you cut it, propagate it, and you have another one, and you can just gift that to someone. Free gifts. Pothos that have good smells? Not really. Typically the smells come from flowers, and unfortunately, typically flowers like to be outside because they need to be pollinated. Your plants will stop flowering if they don't get pollinated often enough because they realize that they're not in an area where there are pollinators. So you can pollinate them yourselves with like your fingers. You kind of have to remember to do it, and it's also a bit weird, but you can do it. But yeah, there are also just some plants, some flowering plants that like they need more heat, they need to be outside. Things like basil smells really good, but basil does like to be outside. It likes a lot of heat, a lot of sunlight. Uh, yeah, pothos, they don't smell that great. They don't smell bad, they just don't smell. Okay, moving on. Spider plants. These ones are great. They also grow pretty quickly. They're very resilient. Um, they look nice. They also don't smell. They are harder to propagate because you can't, they're not a vine. All of the leaves come from the base, so you can't easily just like take a piece and have an intact leaf. If you cut it, you would just cut a leaf in half. So you have to like take it out of the dirt and split it at the base, or you have to wait until it does the little baby spider plant thing that I mentioned earlier. But very easy to grow. They will just survive.
I feel like I've never seen one where there isn't at least a little bit of brown on the end of them.
Yeah, that is true. Basically, what happens is it grows. The leaves grow until they are long enough that they stop getting nutrients to the ends effectively, which is what causes the tips to brown because they stop getting nutrients, and that's also when they stop growing. It can mean other things like it's not getting enough nutrients in general, which means you probably need to fertilize it. It can just be sunburn. So this one's right next to the window, so it's probably sunburned. The one on the left is outside, so it might get sunburned, but it wasn't outside for long. Yeah, that one's very healthy.
Yeah.
Oh, we should have mentioned pretty hot. Okay. Another type of common plant is the prayer plant, Maranta. Oh, sorry, I close the mic. These ones are very, very temperamental. They do not like to live. So they're pretty easy to propagate. They're also a vining plant. You take the node, you put it in the water. They will propagate, but yeah, the other cool thing though is they move on their own during the day. So at night, they will fold the leaves up, and then during the day, they will fold the leaves down and angle them towards the light to get the maximum amount of sunlight. Kind of like automatic solar panels, except they're plants. Any questions or opinions about these plants, the last two? Yeah.
I like this one, but it does seem like it would be very temperamental just by the look of it.
Yeah, they do look very nice. There are some, I don't remember the different varieties. I used to, but I don't have one of these anymore, so I forgot them. But the little red strings, not all of them have that. Some of them are green or white.
Did yours die as well?
Did mine die? Well, I had to get rid of it because I was moving out of my door. Yeah.
What's like the scale? Like I can't tell like what the scale of this
Yeah.
is.
So these leaves are going to be like about the length of my hand now.
Okay.
So from like my wrist to my fingers, they're about this long. They're not too large. Each leaf is small, but you can have as many as you want. You can let the plant get very big. Yeah. My hand is in there, so you can see the scale of this. It's the same pot in both. Although it's a different plant. Fun fact. Even though it's the same pot. I took that one and I took a piece of it and I brought it home in my suitcase to California and I propagated it there. And it grew, and then I took a piece of that, brought it in my suitcase back here, and put it in the same pot, and that's the one on the right. So this is the same plant, technically, genetically, except it's also not.
This is just for my own curiosity. Is it okay to keep those near a window? Because I've kept my spider plant near a window, and it's like doing okay, but like
It depends on the window. So
it's east facing.
East facing is yes. So the I would say the order of window directions from least sunlight to most is north, south, east, west. Because we are in the northern hemisphere. If we were in the southern hemisphere, north and south would be flipped. But morning light is typically more calm. So the east window does not get as much sunlight as the west-facing window, which gets the evening light, which is hotter and like also just more intense. I don't really know the science behind that, but like it's true. So yeah, it should be fine in the east-facing window. This one's north-facing, so I guess it's the weakest. But the amount of sunlight they get also changes how much you need to water them. Because I should have mentioned this when okay, let's go back to plant anatomy real quick. Okay, who knows how a plant gets water from the bottom to the top?
Capillary action.
Yes, capillary action. Raise your hand if you don't know what that means. Raise your hand if you're paying attention. Okay, well, yeah, that's pretty great then. So capillary action basically is you have a really small tube, you have water in it, and you take the water out of one side, the water will kind of just like go down the tube automatically. It's what happens in your veins a bit. It's also what happens if you use like a fountain pen. There's a very, very thin slit at the end, and it will just draw the liquid down without any like pump or anything. So yeah, it has very small tubes within it, and what powers the capillary action? Why does the water go up and not down?
Surface touching.
No. Pressure? No, not quite. Yes, I think so. Evaporation. So the leaves get light, they have a large surface area, they also get heat, the water evaporates out of the leaves, and because there's now empty space there, the water comes up from the bottom. So, which means if your plants get more light, they also need more water. You can slow down the amount of water that the plant drinks by giving it less light and heat. So if you're going away for a break and you need your plants to survive on a limited amount of water, you can put them in a cooler, darker place. So when I go home for Thanksgiving or winter break, I take my plants away from the windows, I water them right before I leave, and they can survive a week or two with no water. What do you say?
Get surface touching. Like technically, if you, I don't know about this plants, but I just double checked. It is surface. Capillary action scientifically is largely surface touching.
Oh yes, capillary action does
Yeah.
work on surface tension, but the reason that it goes up and not down is because the water comes
Yeah.
away out of the top.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Could also go horizontally, but the plant is typically not that direction.
Inefficient.
Unless it falls over. What's happening? Okay.
Generally, we want to go upwards and want to get out of competition.
What?
Typically, the plants just want to get out of competition with others, so they grow up.
That is true, although some of them just go sideways as well. ZZ plant. This is a succulent. It has leaves. It's like, the leaves are not quite as plump as other succulents, but it is a succulent. It does store water, so they're very forgiving. Succulents are very easy because they store water, so forget to water it. It'll just use its own water and it'll get like mushy, and then you look at it and you go, oh, that looks bad, I should water it. So it reminds you and it survives on its own, which is great. This is an example of succulent. Oh, I didn't put a snake plant in here. Snake plants are probably like the most resilient plant you can get. They will grow in the dark somehow. You can put one in a dark bathroom where you barely turn on the light, and you can water it like once every 2 months, and it will just be okay. It won't grow that much, but it'll survive. So snake plant, if you need one in your bathroom. Okay, any opinions on the ZZ plant? I don't like the name.
I like the name. Where's it
Oh,
from?
he likes the name. Don't know.
It's the integer plant because.
Oh,
I
yeah.
suppose.
But
yes.
yeah, I like the leaves. They look. I like how they sprout out a little bit, and it's surprising that it's a succulent. But like now that you say it's a succulent, it makes sense that it is.
It is not money plant, it's the ZZ plant. Maybe it's also a money plant? I don't know. I hear money, like, there's a money tree. Yeah, I've never heard of a money plant. But there's a money tree. I had a picture of one previously.
Is it called a money tree because it costs you money or because it makes you money?
It's called money tree because I think some Asian cultures believe it's good luck and will bring you good money. But only if you do certain things with it, I think. Or like, only if you don't do certain things with it. I don't remember. If it gives it to you, I think it's good, but like, if you just find one, I think it's bad. I don't remember the exact, what's it called?
Beautiful.
Proverbs.
Properties.
Myths.
Tradition.
Not myths. No, there's another word. Anyways, not important. This is my favorite looking plant. These ones are pretty temperamental, and they also get very large, and they're vine plants and they like to grow up. So you'll notice this one is growing up along something in the middle of the pot there. There are a couple things that something could be even a trellis. You can have a moss pole, which is a pole typically made out of chicken wire. It's like a cylinder of chicken wire with moss stuck in it, peat moss, but not the ground up peat moss that we saw before, like live, like, well, not live, but non-ground dead peat moss. And it's weird because you need to water the peat moss so that the plant realizes that it can put its roots there. But these are cool, they have every little root. The roots don't just come out of the bottom, they come out of like everywhere on the plant. And I don't have a picture of one of these on banyan tree, but if you see one of these growing on banyan tree, they will have like roots coming all the way down because, yeah, they just grow aerial roots, and then the roots are in the air, and there's no water, or there's nothing in the air that they hang onto, so they just keep going down until they hit the ground. they'll also go sideways into a tree. So sometimes they kill trees because they're putting their roots into the tree. But yeah, these are great. They're just not feasible to have in small form. They're also kind of more expensive because they're larger. There are different kinds of Monstera. These ones with like the slits on the outside but also the holes on the inside, those are Monstera deliciosa, and I don't know the other kinds. Oh, that's the end of my slide. Okay. Any questions? Yeah, that one there, the second from the left, that's a monk tree. The tree looking. Yeah. So that's those.
Oh, I have one.
Yeah. They're pretty common. They're, I'd say, the most
Can you
common
make a
ice
spoon
cream.
out of it?
Can you what?
Can you make a spoon out of it?
Can you make a spoon out of it? Yeah, this would be a small spoon, it's a small tree.
How do you make a spoon out of it? Which, would you use the wood?
Yes, probably. I mean, I suppose you could also use wood.
You laugh at there like, you can make spoons out of these. They're just hard and held together with toothpicks.
Yeah, there's
They're
another
not really
one.
enjoyable to eat. I've eaten on utensils made of leaves.
Oh,
Yeah.
the little bonsai.
Yeah, this one over here on the right, this is a
Oh, because it's negative.
is a tiger bark ficus. That's the kind of tree it is. Yeah, that one was fun. I think it is all.
So,
I love the plant.
what?
Thank you.
What species is that
You'll see X represents that that is not a plant. But
No, there's green in the eyes, and as you said, green means plant.
yeah, I suppose that that stops. Okay, any questions?
So based on this presentation, what's the most beginner-friendly plant? You mentioned one that is fine to live in a bathroom.
Yeah, most beginner-friendly plants. Snake plant's a good one. Apparently, they also filter your air, but like you eat a lot of plants in order to actually see the benefits of that. Succulents are very good. Starting in May, the farmers market will start. There's a guy there that sells lots of plants.
Yep,
Yeah, keep in mind he isn't there to sell you the plants, so he will say all of them are good. But you can ask him like which ones are the easiest to take care of. Yeah, succulents are good. Pothos are good. Any plant that grows quickly is probably good because if you mess up, it'll grow quickly still, and you can have other pieces of it to grow. I mentioned a bit about like propagation and also how I had kind of propagated that one plant around from here back home. So all of the pothos in this photo are also the same plant but different. It started out as the one on the right. It was very long, and then I cut it about in half, and I took the bottom half and I turned those into white cuttings, and those were in this photo here. Those are regional cuttings. Oh no, never mind. That's a different one. Okay, well, anyways, it's in the middle there. Those are some of the cuttings. Some of the other ones went in different little plastic jars or pots. And then I grew it into the one on the bottom there. And that one I had on my desk at TSAI when I still had a desk there. And then I took it out of the dirt and brought it home with me. And then there, it did not do too well. But I propagated it and put it in a paper towel in a Ziploc bag, and I brought it back with me, and that's the one just to the left of it in the larger pot. Yeah, so if you're worried about keeping your plants alive over the summer, you can just kill them and then take the tiny ones. Or you can create a contraption.
Do you feel sad killing your plant?
So I feel sad killing my plant. No, I actually gave the other half towards the plant. What?
Please elaborate on your contraption.
Oh, my contraption? I didn't build a contraption. But I suppose you could build a contraption that waters the plant, like, occasionally.
It's like a fish feeder, but with water.
Yeah, I'm not a fish expert, so
It's a little contraption that you place on top of your tank, and it just rotates every now and again to drop food.
yeah, I suppose something like that. Yeah, I don't know. You could have like several water bottles, and then
Or like put a big water bottle and like put like a little hole in it and then just drip down. Like a pinhole.
Yeah, so you can do that, but that's actually not good for the plant, because remember, they like getting a lot of water occasionally, but they don't like getting a little bit of water continuously.
So you have it drip down into the bucket, and when the bucket fills up, it
Right,
rattles
like the
down.
water part. Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Yes.
They fill up,
That's
it becomes
the-
unstable and falls over.
Yeah. Yeah, so I suppose you could do that. We can keep on to the other question.
We call it.
Yeah, we're discussing plant and trap roots now. So yeah, I suppose you could do something like that to water it. I don't know how you can trigger it though, or would you just like
You just let it
No,
drip
like, when it
continuously.
gets, like,
capacity?
It drips
It's
forever,
full, like,
and then once it gets full, it becomes unstable, falls, and you'd have to set it up in such a way that it would not recenter itself until it was empty.
Yeah.
And so you would just have it dump every like few days.
It's like a water.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could do that. People also make like 3D printers, but for plant watering. So if you have like a large greenhouse or garden, you can build a very large like trolley sort of system that it will both measure the soil with a probe like the one that I showed, and then it can also go over and dispense water for that. So those are pretty cool, but they kind of require a large flat area for mixed area as well. It doesn't really work as well for houseplants then. Yeah.
Could you could make like a plant gantry?
Yeah,
Like comes
yeah.
around like.
Those are called planters. And,
That's so cool.
yeah, I suppose they're not called planters.
There's also a lot of innovation in this sort of thing, specifically for vineyards. Like there's a lot of more niche agricultural infrastructure to think of. Like there are like battery powered shears that are specifically designed to cut as fast as possible. And the batteries are on your belt because otherwise they're too heavy to carry around. Like there's all sorts of cool stuff.
Oh, wow.
Wineries make.
There's a lot of money.
I love agriculture.
God bless John Deere.
Also, realistically, I know back home they used to do this a lot. You just like run a bunch of tubing through one of your plants, connect one end to
Yeah.
a hole, and then drip irrigation using one of the plants.
And you-
Use that up to tight.
And they make hoses that are actually like that allow water through them, so you can just run that entire length of hose through.
Or
your
I mean,
garden.
like if you typically like the cheap things that we used to do back
Yeah,
home,
yeah, you just
punch
have-
holes in
yeah.
the pipe.
Yeah, so that was meant for outdoor plants. Some studies that go here outdoors are not succulents and not tropical plants. And they actually prefer having moist soil. So you can run them slowly and continuously, whereas house plants are one specific product here. Those ones don't like being watered. But yes, irrigation systems are wonderful for especially vegetables and stuff like that, which is great. Any further questions? All right, thank you for your attention.
Or like a different-
I don't have it. Oh, I think the first one was still on there.
Oh, yeah.
I'll stop. Yeah, you stop.